Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patriots Real-Time Podcast. I'm your host, Theo Diesenhaus, and today we have our second solo show of the summer. Today, we will be diving deep into days 10, 11, and 12 of training camp, and why not just get right into it by talking about day 10. Day 10 of Patriots training camp was a walkthrough for the team, and while there was no team periods, which means 11 on 11 and 7 on 7, there were some interesting depth chart stories to come out of the day, one of which included Terrell Jennings. Jennings was placed on the NFI list earlier this summer. It was announced in the big report that had 3 guys, 2 on PUP, 1 on NFI. Later, Brendan Schooler and Gabe Akis were added to the NFI list. However, Terrell Jennings was the first guy and the only guy at the time to be on the NFI list. He officially came back. Good for Terrell Jennings. You love to see your players come back. And Terrell Jennings just started repping as the third running back. He came back on Tuesday and had a pretty explosive run, but he wasn't really repping with or as the third running back. He was the third running back on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And it was surprising to me. If you remember last podcast, I said Jennings is RB5 to me. And he comes back and he's RB3. So what does this mean for Lane Larison? What does this mean for Jam Miller? I think it means that they haven't done enough. Jennings was the team's third running back after after Gibson went down with his torn ACL against Buffalo. And it seems like he is able to reclaim that spot so far in camp. And I don't think Larison or Jam Miller, as much as I've praised Jam Miller, has done anything to where that's a crazy thing or that's something that we should be upset about. All right. Another guy coming back off the PUP list, one of the original 3, the only one to not come off, is Harold Landry. But CJ Dupree came back to practice with a huge cast. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It was a fist. He could only make a fist, a club. That's the word that we're going to use. He had a club in his hand, and a little behind the scenes, but I actually recorded this podcast yesterday with Zach Ventola. And if you listen to the other podcast, I said we'll be back on Thursday with the podcast with Zach Ventola. We moved the podcast back to Friday so we get all 3 days in. But we had some serious technical difficulties and we were not able to recover the footage. So regardless, what this has to do with CJ Dupree is that he was talking about. So I asked him, why is CJ Dupree out there? He can't catch the football with a club on his hand and you can't really engage in blocking. And he said, well, you kind of want to get out there and go through the motions. And even though you can't be out there and catch the football, you can still run routes and you can still, you can't engage fully. You can still block and you can still get in the swing of things. So it was a good point by him. Jennings, I said maybe, or not Jennings, Dupree, I said maybe is feeling the pressure from Tanner Arkin. You thought he had a great shot, that being Dupree, to be the third tight end. Of course, Arkin's emerged, and it doesn't look like Dupree will be the third tight end. All right, let's move on to day 11, which was Thursday. They were back in full pads. It was originally supposed to be a shells practice. Mike Vrabel said no, and the Patriots were in pads, and it's simple as that. Christian Gonzalez, A.J. Brown, they got chippy. They started jawing back and forth with each other. I wouldn't say something that you love to see. It seems like the team is just tired of going up against each other. A.J. Brown even said so in his press conference on Friday. Christian Gonzalez, not known for being a trash talker, but him and Brown, he turns up another level. I think it was Brown that said that when Gonzalez is on him, he's going full intense, and then when he's on other guys, it's whatever. I saw a rep. I think it was Booty. It might not have even been Booty. It might have been a guy lower down the depth chart than Booty, and it was. I think I don't know. It doesn't matter who it was, but he ran a slant, and Gonzalez made half an effort. He did this essentially. So he's really going at it with A.J. Brown, and then for other guys, it's been typical Gonzo in training camp, where it's lackadaisical, just going through the motions. And that's not to say that that's not to discredit Christian Gonzalez at all. It's just That's what he does, and he's a gamer. What else? Oh, the end of practice. Bad ending to practice. 3 straight interceptions for Patriots quarterbacks. 2 from Drake May, 1 from Tommy DeVito. The 2 from Drake May were to Kevin Jones, to Marcus Jones and Kevin Byard. And here they are. So there you have it. Those are the 2 interceptions Drake May threw. One of them, Marcus Jones, jumped a little behind Demario Douglas, it appeared. And then the other one, an errant throw to Hunter Henry. We could talk about Hunter Henry's effort, and it's not necessarily that he wasn't trying or he was pulling a Christian Gonzalez, which once again, don't mean to pick on Christian Gonzalez. It's just something that he does. Doesn't seem to be fully not engaged, because he's definitely engaged. And once again, just want to credit the fact that this guy's out there in the first place. But we've seen this in 2024 and 2025, and even not so much 2023 because he was a rookie, but he's out there. He'll cover the guy. If there's a ball up for grabs, is he going to necessarily go out and extend and jump and dive? And probably not. This year, we've seen more of it with A.J. Brown. The last 2 years, no. He's going through the motions. He'll cover you. Ball's being thrown. Maybe he'll stick an arm out, which you don't want the guy to get hurt. He's been hurt in 2 out of his 4 camps, and this one still has some time left in it. Obviously not saying I want Christian Gonzalez to get hurt, but I'm just saying it is a possibility. So what was I even? Oh, Hunter Henry. So anyways, I really went back to Christian Gonzalez. I'm sorry about that. But Hunter Henry, maybe he didn't see the throw coming. It's wishy-washy. We don't really know what was going on. And then injuries. Cameron Dorner, Romeo Dobbs missed that practice, but he was back on Friday, so I don't need to talk about that. Seems like it was an off-the-field thing that Vrabel said was positive. Good for him, hopefully. Positive, sounds good. But Cameron Dorner missed every practice of the week except for the Monday bubble practice. And to me, it seems like it's not too serious of an injury, because you miss 4 practices and you're not going to be able to be back for the next 2 weeks, and you're an undrafted free agent with really no shot of making the team. Dorner's impressed, but you have a loaded receiver group. There have been talks about Kyle Williams and Efton Chisholm, guys that have over 100 career receiving yards, versus a guy like Cameron Dorner, who's an undrafted free agent from North Texas, who's not done anything in the NFL, not making the team. So like I said, it's not necessarily season ending, it seems like, but I don't know. It's something to note. And then the other thing to note is Marcus Bryant was in as the left tackle for the Patriots in Will Campbell's absence, which I mentioned earlier. He was wearing the arm brace, and he did not participate in 11-on-11s or 7 on. I don't think they had 7-ons. The offensive linemen don't participate in 7-on-7s. They did not. He didn't participate. He didn't participate in 11-on-11s, and in there was Marcus Bryant. Now, a lot of people were worrying about Caleb Lomu. At the time, I said, it seems like Campbell's going to be fine. He's going to be back out there on Monday. It seems Mike Vrabel said that. In what capacity, not sure. But at the time, I was thinking to myself, maybe this is just you rep Lomu, you rep with the as the right tackle with the second team. Marcus Bryant has been repping as a left tackle. If this was a real game situation, or if this was a serious injury, we would have Caleb take the snaps. But since it seems like Campbell will only be out for 1 to 2 days, let's just throw Marcus Bryant a bone. He's been playing really well so far during camp. Get him in there. And then as more time went on, maybe Marcus Bryant is the third tackle. Maybe he is the swing tackle. Maybe you don't have a swing tackle, and you have a guy that plays left tackle, and you have a guy that plays right tackle, and they'll come in back up. Maybe that's the case. And I'm not going to tell you that Marcus Bryant is better than Caleb Lomu, or he's the long-term answer at swing tackle. Not that Lomu was the long-term answer at swing tackle. He should be the long-term answer at right tackle. But maybe for this year, he's just backup left tackle. And I think it would be bad if Caleb Lomu wasn't the backup right tackle or the backup tackle in any sort of at either position. But Marcus Bryant could be the swing tackle for the Patriots. And I like Marcus Bryant. Is he better than Caleb Lomu? Now, maybe, but long term, no. Bryant played left tackle in college, and the guy that was playing alongside him or on the other side of the line, 7th overall pick. Bryant was a 7th round pick, not the 7th overall pick. Armand Membu, who the Jets took and had a really good rookie season, they couldn't move him to left tackle because of Marcus. Well, they could have, but they didn't because of Marcus Bryant. I talked about this last year. Bryant didn't get many opportunities. He only played 18 offensive snaps last year. I think it was 60 total, something around there. Is Marcus Bryant your swing tackle? I'll leave it up and there. Once again, solo podcast, so going to be taking a few water breaks. Apologize for that. I'll try to do it when I get the tweets up. Also, here you go. Here is the August 6th passing stats for the Patriots. I'll just let you read them real quick, and then I'll transition to the next topic. All right. The scrimmage. This happened yesterday, which was Friday, August Is it the 8th? Yeah, August 7th. The second annual Blue vs. White scrimmage. They did it in the in-stadium season ticket members only practice last year. This year, no season ticket practice and no in-stadium practice this year, and their season ticket practice is happening after the preseason game, which it did not happen last year. So they're going for the no scrimmage during that, or they're not opting for a scrimmage during that. There were 2 stipulations, one of which was football related, one of which was funny, I guess you could say. The best way to put it, friendship related, we could say. Jared Wilson and Drake May, you see the chemistry building. There were some botched snaps. I haven't heard much about that recently, so good sign on that. Jared Wilson playing his natural position makes sense. Nothing too out of the ordinary. And then the other one, which is very out of the ordinary, the best friends. Mac Hollins and Efton Chisholm, an unlikely duo. Mac Hollins, who's played in the NFL since 2017. Efton Chisholm, probably in high school in 2017. They're best friends, and they needed to be on the same team. Vrabel talked about them playing games in the pool when he'll walk in sometimes. You love to see the friendship building. Both those guys probably going to be on the team this season. So the friendship that keeps building. They're signing autographs. They're the last 2 guys out there. Zach Ventola, the guy that's supposed to be on this podcast, talked about it yesterday. He wrote an article about it. So you love to see that. What you don't love to see was Drake May's start. 1 for 6 to start. Got better. However, we're doing 3 up, 3 down. I'll get into my down. Is Drake May on the list? Stay tuned to find out. Don't love it. But what I do love, 2 little terrible transitions right there in a row. But Demario Douglas and Tommy DeVito's connection was on point. It popped, some would say. 2 touchdowns, a long completion, a connection that you're probably not going to see. I think Demario Douglas is going to play in the preseason. The last 2 seasons, he hasn't really. This year, his roster spot's guaranteed, but he's not, because in 2024, he was the number 1 receiver, at least heading into camp. And in 2023, he was a rookie, so he played. Oh, no, he was hurt, so he didn't play in 2023. 25, he might have played he did play a little bit. I think this year he's going to be out there a little bit with the 2s. And I have him as a starter. I just think you're not going to play A.J. Brown, you're not going to play Romeo Doubs, and you're not going to play, maybe Keishon Boutte will play, but Mac Hollins isn't going to play probably. So those are guys that you might have on there for 1 drive with Drake May, and then you'll go to the Boutte, Pop, Williams, Chisholm. Those guys don't really play on the field at the same time. But did I get 7 guys there? Who's the guy I'm forgetting? No, I got 7. Hollins. Sorry. But anyways, all that to say, I don't think DeVito and Pop is going to be a big connection, but here is one of their connections for a touchdown. Michael Jackson at the end. I'm going to play this. I'm going to let this play one more time through. Or maybe I can't. How do I do this? Here we go. Oh, no. Oh, I didn't know I could pause this. Hold on. Okay, it keeps doing that. Sorry about that. Good throw by Tommy DeVito. Fit that in between Del Pettis and I think it was Brandon Crossley. He had a good day. He's not the starting quarterback, obviously. Good day. Speaking of his good day, let's show the passing stats. Drake May, not great. It's almost a 50% completion percentage. 2 touchdowns, though. 1 to Romeo Doubs. And then DeVito, much better day. Morton, fine. Another weird thing, not that that was weird, but another thing that happened during this scrimmage was a very weird play, very interesting play that you don't see every day. Here is Ethan's tweet. Play of the day candidate. Baron Morton fired it to Tejon. I'm sorry, I do not know how to pronounce his name. Palmer. We'll just say Palmer. Firing it to Palmer, who bobbled it and dropped it at the sideline. It fell right into, at the sideline. It fell right into Miles Montgomery's hands, and he took it inside the 10. Now, I'll just show you the play because, wow, this was one of the weirdest plays I've seen on a football field. Nothing to read into there. Palmer, a guy that's probably going to get cut. Montgomery, a guy that's buried on the depth chart, but still something that was cool to see, something interesting, something you don't see every day. Speaking of Palmer, I know I butchered his first name. I know I didn't know how to pronounce it, but I do know a little bit about the guy, and I want to talk about him because the Patriots signed him the night of our last podcast. Palmer was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in the 6th round of the 2024 NFL draft. The Patriots actually worked him out before the draft. He only appeared in 1 game for the Cardinals and in the NFL, where I believe he played 10 or so plays. I watched all of his snaps. He looks like a solid run blocker in the limited snaps I saw. He also he's a tall guy. I think he's 6'2", and he's able to run away. So Palmer's not a guy that's going to make the team, but he might be a fun Baron Morton target that we will see in the preseason. Okay, let's get to 3 up, 3 down. Also, here were the absences from day 12. Go ahead and read these. Gilliam misses another day. Load management, Barmore not out there. He walked off the field with an injury. We'll see. Carlton Davis also going to be coming back. Not next week, but I think the week after. Charles Woods also got hurt. Caden Wallace is demoted and hurt. And Dorner, I mentioned earlier. All right, 3 up, 3 down. We do this after every series of practices. My number 1 up, I talked about him already. Demario Douglas, 2 touchdowns today, had the big play down the seam. Is this going to carry over to the regular season? That's the big question. And Zach and I talked about this yesterday, and he brought up the fact that usually Douglas is Mr. July. He called him Mr. July because he does it before the pads get on. He did it again this year. And then when the pads come on, it's where's Demario Douglas? Efton Chisholm is emerging. But this year, he's done it with the pads on. He's consistently getting open. He's the best separator this team has. And I said it, I'm going to repeat what I said. Since number 81 stepped on that field for the Patriots in 2023, there has been nobody on the field, on the team, in a 3-mile vicinity that could get open like Demario Douglas on a football field. And the Patriots haven't been able to take advantage of it in the last 2 seasons because Drake May does not have the chemistry. But Drake May actually highlighted his chemistry with Demario Douglas earlier this offseason. And it looks like the pair is actually getting better, getting more comfortable with each other, I should say. And it looks like Demario Douglas is poised for a breakout season in an offense that he's more familiar with. He also said that he was more familiar with Josh McDaniels' offense. This is his first time having a coordinator in back-to-back years and a head coach in back-to-back years. But things you love to see, stash it under that category. Okay, My number 2 up, Khalil Jacobs. I wrote an article on him yesterday. He is a guy that I had on my original 53-man roster projection when I made it. I'm actually going to pull this up right now, but I'll talk about Jacobs while I do this. He had a near interception. He also had 2 pressures. Hold on one second. It's going to take me. Bad radio by me. Should have had this pulled up. Here we go. I'm going to make sure I had him on there because I keep saying I do. I did. Okay. So yes, he was on my original 53-man roster projection, which I had. Wait a minute. Jacobs didn't sign with the Patriots till May 8th. And I had him on the roster at what? Was signed by the Patriots on May 8th. How did I have him on my roster projection on May 1st? What? Anyways, I'm sorry. That makes no sense. Anyways, back to actually talking about football. He's always around the football. He plays fast. He ran a 4.7 740, and Mike Vrabel was giving him shit for it when he came in for his 30 visit. And he said, Coach, they timed me wrong. And Vrabel's like, all 32 teams timed you wrong, really? But he plays fast, and Jacobs knows he plays fast. He said, this isn't track. We play football, and it's evident out there. He's a fast player. And when Taylor Kyles, the great Taylor Kyles, I should say, my favorite guy out there, does a great job. Just want to give Taylor a shout out. If you are listening to this podcast, I'm sure you obviously know who Taylor Kyles is. Anyways, he asked him, how are you able to play so fast in a defense that isn't as familiar or more pro-style defense than you're used to playing in? I paraphrased. That was the gist of the question. And Jacobs repeated what he had said earlier. He said, see ball, get ball was his mentality. See ball, get ball. And that's what he does. He sees the football. He gets after the football. So Khalil Jacobs is a see ball, get ball kind of guy. Terrell Jennings, my third up and the third running back. Mentioned all the reasons why he is my third up. Repping as the third running back, just came back. Looks like he's going to make the team. Higher expectations than I thought. My almost good list, Efton Chisholm, taking some reps with the ones on Thursday. He's consistently good. He's very consistent. He learned all 3 positions last year, like we know, and he is going to be a versatile and good player for this team this year. And then as for Tommy DeVito and why I have him on my almost good list, good day today. Ended practice not great yesterday. He was 3 for 6 in 11 on 11, so not great. However, the backup going out and performing as well as he did yesterday, Friday, is impressive. All right, 3 down. Drake May headlines the list. I'm not saying that Drake May is not the franchise quarterback. I'm not saying Drake May is not going to win the MVP. I'm not saying Drake May is not going to lead the Patriots to the Super Bowl. This is just over the last 3 days, really, too, because they didn't have any team periods on Wednesday. 2 interceptions to end the 2-minute drill. They were driving, but 2 interceptions to end the 2-minute drill. And then a really slow start. A lot of, not overthrows, a lot of throwaways. Just spit everywhere when I said that. And it's not necessarily, like I said, I don't trust Drake May. I don't think he's a consistent quarterback, but we're looking to see the consistency. Last year, his first interception came on August 1st, and he's thrown 4. And it's August 7th, but they had earlier practices last year. So, like I said, not take this with a grain of salt, but I'm not talking about Drake May, the player. Obviously, I know he's a good player. It's just, he's a great player. It's just, I expect higher of him. I don't think you should be throwing back-to-back interceptions in a 2-minute drill. Happens. But you're on the down list, and it's okay. Hopefully this is the last time he's on the down list. I assume it will be. Number 2, Caleb Lomu, mentioned him earlier, not being the top swing tackle. He's looked bad all camp. As Zach said, the highs have been high, the lows have been low. First-round pick, not loving it. Number 3, the guard and interior depth. You had to convert James Hudson to a guard. I don't think he's ever played a snap at guard in his NFL career. You have no depth. Jacob Rizzi, John Darius Morgan have shown you nothing. Andrew Rupsich is a 4A player if they had it in the NFL. He's a practice squad A player. No, he's a practice. What would be the version for that in the NFL? He's a practice squad plus. He's a practice squad elevation player. We'll go with that. I don't love the depth there. All right. Before we wrap this one up, I want to talk about David Blay, a guy I had on my 5 players that could potentially make the roster. I wrote for Savage Boston. Go check all my articles out there. He was cut for Eric Butler, who they signed. He's an undrafted free agent. Immediately, I said, oh, that sucks. Why'd they do that? And then 5 seconds later, I said, oh, the interior depth is so good. Farmer's emerging. Durden's the third guy in the middle. Jeremiah Farms is still here. Eric Gregory is still here and could make the team. I'm probably forgetting another guy who, off the top of my head, not coming to me. Having a rough day with my memory today. But you have so much depth there. You signed Isaiah Aiton. You signed... Oh, I'm not going to get the name, but you... Hold on a second. Just was thinking about this guy the other day. You signed Casey Rogers, a guy that's played in the NFL before. You have so much depth there. David Blay wasn't really emerging, wasn't going to get any opportunities. It makes sense. Let's talk about Eric Butler, 6'2", 190, slimmer, taller safety. You don't have that on your team. Your backup safeties, they're relatively bigger guys. He went to San Diego State. In his career, 116 tackles, 9 pass breakups, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, which was a pick 6. He actually blocked 2 punts for San Diego State in his college career, so maybe we see some special teams upside. All right. That'll do it for this edition of the Patriots Real-Time Training Camp Recap. I hope you enjoyed watching. I will be back recapping the joint practice. Who will it be with? Hopefully Austin. Not sure, though. Stay tuned for all that. Follow me on Instagram at Patriots3. Follow me on Twitter at Theo Diesenhaus. Follow me or read my stuff at SavageBoston.com. It's not at SavageBoston.com, but it is on SavageBoston.com. Follow the podcast Patriots Real Time on all your social media, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week.